Hello, nice to meet you. Welcome to joining to my class today. Today's my presentation is maritime regulation and policies on carbon neutrality and latest digitalization and safety regulation in Republic of Korea. Especially, I would like to introduce my contents today in view of reduction of greenhouse gas and energy transitions. My name is Han-Seon Park. I work for the Korean Maritime Institute. I am a research fellow and director. And so the KMI, Korean Maritime Institute, is belonging to the Prime Minister of the Republic of Korea. And we also to the Carbon Policy Organization, research organization. And then I'm also, let me introduce myself. I joined to the International Maritime Organization's meeting, in particular Marine Environment Protection Committee, since 2001. And over the 22 years, I joined to the IMO rulemaking working meeting, and as our IMO consultant to contribute to the International Maritime Organization's policy. And I have earned a lot of experience to the technical technology transformation, technology transfer to the developing states and the small island developing states in terms of to the policy making as a national action plan related to the marine environment protection and safety in maritime sector. Today's my presentation, my content is first one is energy supply and demand in maritime sector related to the sustainable development goal related to the International Maritime Organization's strategic plan and strategic direction. And the second, I would like to introduce policy of maritime energy transition in Republic of Korea. The third, I would like to introduce Environmental Act of Republic of Korea. Republic of Korea, how to support, how to improve the industry related to the maritime sector, such as shipyard and shipping, and logistics, and equipment company. And then last one, as my opinion, I would like to the proposal and recommendation as a conclusion. To the IMO is focused on the marine environment protection and related to the related to the maritime pollution convention, so maritime pollution convention, and from Annex 1 to Annex 6. Annex 1 is related to the oil pollution. The second one is a noxious liquid substance. The third is packages, and the fourth, the sewage. And the fifth is to the plastic prohibition, like that. And so the London Convention and London Protocol is related to the garbage problem is Annex 5. And Annex 6 is very famous, to the climate change action and climate change crisis. And so IMO is very, very important to the agenda, how to cut the greenhouse gas from ships. This is protecting the atmosphere. First priority, first the implementation of the MAPOL Annex 6, the air pollution, is related to the NOx and SOx. And then the volatile organic compound, and more the limitations is a regulatory frame is the enhancement. For example, is to the sulfur content, from first stage, 4.5% mass per mass. However, is IMO 2020, the sulfur contents is all global standard is 0.5%. Sure, of course, in particular, special area, emission control area, is 0.1%. That kind of the rule making by IMO. That is IMO's function and IMO policy. To the nowadays is trend is focus on the decarbonizations. Over the low carbon, the emissions is purposely in the result. Finally, the mankind and IMO is target is to the zero emissions. Our Korea also to the declared the carbon neutrality 2050 by the president, the former vice president declared 2 years ago. And then the new government also is the same trend and same policy is going on. And then the IMO also, to these pictures is related to the ballast water, invasive species is very, very important to the protecting the ecosystem. And then another one is rules making is going on to the dealing with the waste, in particular is plastic litters. Very serious for to the mankind, because the mankind and man and have eat the fish as our the daily bread. So they have a very negative impact to the mankind. Even the could eat the plastic, including the fishy. And so the IMO also to the making the particularly sensitive sea area for protecting to the sea. And then and so ocean, clean ocean and noise pollution, they kind of to the protection, the pollutant is IMO's working for protecting. Let's see the latest outcome of the MBC 78. There are many resolutions to MEPC. For example, is Annex 1 is the watertight doors amendment was adopted in this time. And so, to the revised GESAM hazard evaluation procedure. Another one is to the interesting International Ballast Water Management Certificate form, also the amendment. And so, there are many, the Ship Energy Efficiency Management Plan, SIMP, is guideline was adopted in this time. And then the fuel oil consumption data, the data collection system, the flag states have to loading to the GCS program, annual basis is important. And then in these times to the IMO ship fuel oil consumption database, and so was adopted, and attained energy efficiency existing ship index was adopted, and then the CII guideline, the carbon intensity index, and that calculation method was adopted. And then a CII reference line guideline also was adopted in this time. And there are many related to the marine environment. And so the MEPC, there are many resolution was adopted. We have to see and the port state control, and so take into consideration amendment of resolution in the session. And then this kind of to the protection of marine environment, what is connected? Why is connected to the sustainable development goal in the maritime sector? And so 2016 and 2018 at the time, the Secretary General Gitek Im, and so take it into consideration is UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals is related to the maritime sector, in particular to maritime transportation. For example, is G2 is zero hunger, G5 is gender equality, G7 and clean energy, G9 and G13 and G14 is very interesting, focusing on the climate actions is related to the UNFCCC. UNFCCC is declared to the 2025 at the many countries at the Glasgow COP26 declared to the zero the emission route is declarations by the advanced country and the environmental country, and so many big impact to the shipping industry. And so nowadays the shipping, sure of course to the indispensable, however is more indispensable, as my understanding, is decarbonization and over the low carbon emission, over the to target and the zero emission. It's very interesting, to the G2, G7, G5, G9 also was best connected to between the Sustainable Development Goal in UN and to the IMO strategic plan. And so G13 is there are many to regulation is going on by IMO working. And then at the times to the strategic plan of IMO was made at the time, we have to consideration to the 24 trends, development and challenge. And to the development and review of IMO regulation and uniform implementation and single window approach, security and utilization of big data, automation and remote operation, they kind of the very important to the agenda. Cyber security, ship design and shipbuilding, and pollution, marine pollution, crewing and fatigue, and sustainable development of activity in the marine spaces. And then participation in and coordination with UN initiative. 24 TDCs was considered by IMO working experts to make her to the IMO strategic plan. And TDC is summarized to the strategic direction, the strategic direction 7. And so the first one, strategic direction, is improve implementation. To the very important to the implementation of convention was made by IMO, and that is existing the IMO is the reason. And so how to the effectively the implementation of IMO conventions by the IMO member state, 174 member states is not the same, the level of implementation capacity. However, is advanced member states have to the transfer, technology transfer, and the many technical cooperation, and the kind of the method is have to the upgraded to the capacity building for to the developing state and small island developing states. That is a duty of the advanced country, advanced member state. The second one is strategic direction to integrate new technology into the regulatory framework. You know, digitalization is very fast. Out of the states is many, the technology is the installation on ship. However, its regulation is not fully support. Even if some technology, high technology equipment was developed, however, there is no to the evaluation test procedure and test the guideline, and so is to the cannot the installation of the ship. To prevent this kind of the situation and case, we need to the when we make to the regulations, we have to take into consideration and integrate the new technology to the regulatory framework. And then the third strategic direction 3, response to the climate change. We know to the climate change is on all every mankind have to take into considerations is energy saving, energy consumption from the ship and in the daily life, and the seafarer's life on board also. And so climate change is directly related to the energy saving, the energy oil consumption. And so there are many climate change regulation, climate response to the climate action. Because the Annex 6 of Energy Efficiency Design Index and Existing Index, CII, THIMP, that kind of the index is very useful for the energy saving. And so to the upgrade to the ship technology. That is why we understand to the climate action, climate change is we are to the possible to the in line with the UNFCCC is low under the 1.5 centigrade. We understand the maker consensus all over the world. So I am also the total of the greenhouse gas emission from ship is global, the total of the emission in comparison with 2.2, 2.6, and so we understand it is that the very small. However, is 2.6 is very important. 2.2 is not small. So and then climate change is a very serious problem in the future to protect to global it is Earth, save the Earth. And then strategy 4, engage in ocean governance. We understand to the governance, how to make a governance in maritime sector, how to make the ocean governance, how to engagement is very important, such as to the marine plastic litter is the prohibit to the sea, and so the sea ocean the pollution is for the mankind and further to the fish, the eating the from the sea. We have to make the ocean governance. And then international trade, we have to the IMO also to the policy and the strategy plan have to consideration of to international trade. And so the technology and regulation is not becomes a bottleneck. So this kind of IMO regulation support to the improve is the shipping industry. And so the shipping is indispensable. To the IMO regulation also indispensable. However, it needed to the harmonizations between there is no burden of the shipping company. So it is important strategic direction, enhance global facilitation of the international trade. And then strategic direction 6, ensure regulatory effectiveness. Conventions made by IMO there are many the conventions. However, its original purpose was done or not. We have to the assessment, the respectively convention by convention. And so we need to the impact assessment, implementation of the IMO convention. That is to many member states to support to the why the IMO, the convention is needed to protect the ocean, protect to the mankind, protect the seafarer. That kind of regulatory effectiveness is needed. And then the final is ensure organizational effectiveness. And so anytime any organizations is needed to the transparency for operating the organizations. That is to the strategic direction from explain from strategic direction 1 to strategic direction 7. I would like to introduce to the IMO initial strategy from 2018-2026. 2018 at the time to the MPC 73 adapted to the IMO initial strategy to response to the climate change, climate actions. At the time to the three category, Group A, Group B, and Group C. And the Group A is candidate to short-term measures that can be considered and addressed under existing IMO instrument. The Group B is candidate to short-term measures that are now work in progress and are subject to the data analysis. And so data is very important. Maybe the Korea also, another countries is to the introduction of the regulatory scheme, such as emission trading scheme. However, we don't know how much is the get to the CO2 quantity. I don't know. However, is how to the operating to the emission trading scheme. That is why we need data. That is why the IMO is data collection system is for to very good operating is for the emission trading scheme. And so Group C also candidate to short-term measures that are now work in progress are not subject to the data analysis. And then a candidate medium and long-term measures and action to address the identified barriers. Impact on the states, the first IMO greenhouse gas study was done 2020. Final effort was done. And then the capacity building, the technical cooperation, research and development is needed continuously. And after 2003, is adopted in the future as a final plan. And so the follow-up action and toward the development of revised strategy. And so, data collection system data is maker transparency and very, very we removal uncertainty of the greenhouse gas data. And so now is MPC 78 to 2022, and then November is coming, the MPC 79 at the time to the before to the international working group greenhouse gas is will take part in before to the MPC 79, and maybe it's going on to the back to back the considering and discussing for adoption of make a consensus the greenhouse cost between the advanced country and the developing states and the small island developing states. We have to make a consensus before to the 2023 to finalize to the IMO greenhouse gas strategy. And this is to the IMO strategy on reduction of greenhouse gas emission, to the already 2030 when we make her to the IMO initial strategy, and so that we make a consensus decision of carbon intensity 40%. And 2050 long-term measures, carbon intensity 70%, greenhouse gas 50% is very important related to the EU ETS, also the 61%. We have to consideration shipping industry. More detail, the IMO environmental regulation related to the shipping industry. There are very big the index. The optimized design technical measures is related to the energy efficiency existing index. And so this index related to the fuel, engine retrofit, waste heat recovery system, wind assistant air lubrication, the kind of technology is installed and tested. And then next the step is alternative fuel and carbon-free fuel, engine power limit, engine modifications. And SIMP is operational efficiency, operational measures is important. And so we have to take into consideration energy saving device, utility optimization, digital transformation, CO2 captures under discussion. And hull optimization, propeller high fin, and the AMP installed to the harbor, and so very important to for protecting to the citizen is clean the particularly matter to the air pollutions. We can the prevention of the particularly matter. And then a new ships, existing ship, attain the EDI, EEX should be taken into account. To the categorization is ship type A, B, C. Same target for all ships in each categories. Super efficiency. We have to attain the EDI, required EDI, survey and certification is going on already. And then we are to the EDI, the high and low, we make her to the formula. This is an experience formula. And so, to the cargo capacity and calculation and take into consideration is speed and main engine emission and auxiliary engine emission and the weight heat recovery system. Innovative energy efficiency technology it was installed. And so there are the finalizations we can see to as a result of EEXI. This is the same innovative energy efficiency technology, main engine emission and the auxiliary engine emission, so it's the same things. In the hull optimization, category A, B, C, we can see energy benefit can be realized with current EDI scheme. And then another one is, to a lot of kind of kite system and the solar system, and there are many the innovative technology have to install apply to the energy saving device is to greenhouse gas cut from ships. The EEXI, to the CII, there are the grade from A, B, C, D, E, and the final is under the C or D or E. That kind of vessel will the phase out in the future. And the adapted to the CII index already, maybe it's coming to 2026. And the shipping industry have to take into considerations to have an endeavor to decrease to the upgrade to the reference line CII. And so they have to get the A grade and B grade. That is that kind of the ship industry and the kind of the shipping company is very powerful for okay. And so this is the CII. Next, the presentation is next time is I will introduce to the energy transitions related to the alternative fuel oil. Thank you this time.